Hey guys, we're live right now and we're live here on YouTube and we are live on Facebook. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear the comments by Paul and soon to be Jason when Jason joins us tonight. But I hope so. If you guys got any comments on either YouTube here or Facebook, I'm trying something new. Put them up there and we'll try to get them read out there for you guys tonight. As always, guys, I just want to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button and the like button and just share it with all your Hawkeye family and friends. And I always tell you to share it with your Husker fans, your um, Cyclone friends, and and now Gopher fans. Let's have a little fun with the Gophers. Let's share this podcast with the Gophers. You know,
We
and
should.
so yeah. Anyway, um, so good evening, gentlemen. Cody's on YouTube
Hey, Cody.
Live. Jerry Stafford is watching on Facebook. And
Nice.
so good. Stafford. I'm sorry, Stafford. Um, so we're trying something new tonight, guys. And so just for you guys coming in, I will tell you that I'm simultaneously doing live Facebook and
YouTube.
YouTube. However, you cannot see the guys on YouTube because I'm not sure how to set that up on the thing. And StreamYard, which I use for this platform, charges me for platform live at the same time. So I will try to glance over here and check your questions, and hopefully, if you guys are on Facebook, please, if you can hear them, okay, let me know. If you can't, I'll probably just go ahead and end the Facebook Live because it won't do you any good. Because Paul is about to talk about a rant that he needs to go on tonight.
I do. And it's so funny that you said share this with your Gopher fans
Okay.
because they're really at the heart of what I want to rant about, which is the college football rankings. The ranking system just gets on my nerves, right? So, uh, you know, Iowa and Michigan right now are two very similar programs with similar positives and negatives. We have the same record. We now have uh, uh, a like opponent, right? We have a shared opponent, and if you wipe away program history and if you wipe away what happened last year, if you wipe and you just compare resumes, right? You got one team that got blown away at home, granted by a very good team, maybe the best team in the country, if not one of the top two or three teams in the country, but they weren't even competitive. And so that's their one loss. And then you've got Iowa with their one loss against an undefeated team that's probably going to be top 15 ish when the new rankings come out, right? And then you've got the common opponent in Minnesota, where Iowa went to Minnesota at night and put a spanking on the Gophers. Meanwhile, at home, they survived a bad offsides penalty call that Minnesota has a legit argument that they could have possibly beaten Michigan, right? They could have handed them a potential second loss. They were certainly there at the end. And what's going to happen when these rankings come out? Michigan's probably still going to be in the top 12. They're not going to fall after a win, even though it was not a great win. And, Iowa's going to stay unranked. And I think it's messed up.
So, Jason has joined us, everybody. Jason, just to bring you up to speed, I am live on Facebook as well. I've got this set up so the Facebook people watching can hear you guys, but they can't see you. So I'm just trying something different tonight to see if we can get this out there, pushed out there to the throngs of millions of people. um, so honestly, I'm okay with Iowa not being ranked yet. Let's just get that right off the board. If they can do something against Ohio State, make some noise, I don't think they'll actually get ranked. But if they can make some noise and then beat Washington the following week, then I think they start sneaking back into the top 25. I have this theory, and I wanted to talk about some of the Big Ten stuff, and I want to talk about some of the games, but Kelvin calling Jason Mr. Purdue.
Mr. Purdue.
But I had this theory that after watching the games the first 5 weeks of the season, that Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State are the class of the league. Those three are fighting it out for the championship. I just had a visitor.
You said Penn State or Oregon.
Okay. So I think the next tier teams is Iowa, Nebraska, Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin. Although Wisconsin didn't look great yesterday.
What about Michigan?
Oh yeah, Michigan. And so those teams are fighting it out. What I believe is for fourth place, and I believe in the fourth and final playoff spot at the end of the season. I got Michigan, guys. Thank you. And so that's where I'm kind of at right now after what I'm seeing. What I want to know is what are you guys seeing from some of these Big Ten teams that maybe when we did our preseason talk about it and that maybe is different than what you guys are thinking now. And since you haven't spoken yet, Jason, hello, Jason, to everybody.
Hey, Coach.
My laptop was being a poop skin. It did not want to load your stuff, Dean. It said, no Dean tonight. The laptop was fighting you. It did not want to do Dean tonight.
Okay. All right.
But I could give you, I have my rankings if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, I have Ohio State up there. And I haven't seen much. I mean, Penn State's good. Oregon's good. But I need to see Ohio State play Iowa this week before I can move anybody else around. Because, I really believe Iowa can win this week against Ohio State. But I have Ohio State right now as a class by themselves until I see them play Iowa. Because they haven't played anybody yet. Neither has Oregon. Penn State's played Illinois. And that was a 7-7 ball game. Until the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not sure we can believe in Penn State yet. I think this is a little premature because nobody has played anybody really.
Okay. Well, Michigan's played Texas and it didn't go very well for them.
And it didn't work out.
And they played USC.
Right? They played USC.
They played Texas, I think, in the very first game of the year, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think Michigan really knew who they were then. Now they know they're a running team. They were able to pass for 80 yards against Minnesota, right? But I think it was like 78 yards, something like that. Jerry or Kelvin probably knows the exact number, but this is a little too early because nobody has really played anybody except, like you said, Michigan's played USC, which I don't think USC is very good. And then they just pounded Wisconsin, which I have Wisconsin at the bottom of the league down there with those teams. Mm-hmm. The amount of people I have talked to in the last 2 days who want Iowa to beat Wisconsin, and what I mean by that, or Nebraska, is firing a coach that wins. Wisconsin fired a coach that wins, and now they can't even win.
Yeah. So they're pulling Nebraska is what they've done.
Yeah. They were competitive with USC.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
They were competitive with USC for quite a while in that game.
For a while, and then it turned into a romp.
If USC wanted to, they could have probably ran the ball in almost every down. Wisconsin, I don't know if it's the way Wisconsin's new coach wants to be, but they do not have Barry Alvarez type lines, right? The trenches in Wisconsin now are just bad. I mean, I think Iowa's going to just pound Wisconsin as well. What they have going on at Wisconsin on both sides, on both lines, it's just not Barry Alvarez X. So, yeah, I can give you my list. I do have Ohio State number 1, and then Penn State, Oregon, and Indiana. Those are my 2, 3, and 4s. And Indiana is Indiana is another team that I believe has to play somebody, right? Before, they've done what they're supposed to against their schedule. They've literally dominated their schedule, but they haven't been very good teams. And then
but even so, previous iterations of Indiana wouldn't be hanging 77 on anybody.
Oh no, I agree with you 100%. That's what I'm saying. That's why I have them 4th. Is because their schedule's been pretty easy, but they have been dominating, right? That's the difference. That's why I have them up at 4th. I have Rutgers at 5th. After what they did with Washington, they held them to 18 points. What they did was they bend but don't break now, and that's what hurt Washington is they were able to move the ball between the 20s, but that was about it.
Yeah.
So Rutgers is like Iowa, where they bend, but they give up a lot of yards, but they don't give up a lot of points.
Mm-hmm. Well, can I just stop you right there with Rutgers and Washington game right there? I kind of wanted to discuss that, and since you brought it up,
well, you're lucky I have everything wrote down.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Because I would have forgot.
Come prepared, because you never know what's going to happen, right?
That's right.
No, I mean, and you had to point it out to me that the quarterback for Washington had over 300 yards of passing, and I forgot what you said his percentage was.
He completed 73% or something like that.
Okay. So I don't remember any big play passes coming out of him. So was he just more or less dinking and dunking? Because to me, that's a quiet 300. Because I watched that game and I just don't recall it being very spectacular. They ran the ball a lot.
I don't know what you're looking for. I was going to have a discussion with you about that if I wanted to. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're looking for. No, like Mike Leach style quarterbacks are going to be flashy, right?
Okay.
You're throwing the ball all over the yard. He did have a 51-yard pass to one of the receivers. Do you remember that one? But I wouldn't say they dink and dunk. It's just they don't just sit there and take deep shots, which is what you don't do in that style of offense, right? Mm-hmm. If you're throwing the ball on every down, you can't just chuck it down the field on every down. That's a different. I'm just going back to what Mike Leach and Will Rogers was like. But Will Rogers is probably the most accurate quarterback in the NCAA right now. So, but yeah, it may not be flashy, and what he did what he could do between the 20s, but he couldn't do anything in the red zone.
Yeah, obviously. That's what I kind of noticed because holding them to 18 points, usually if you see a quarterback with 300 plus yards, they probably put up 30 points on the board at least. Yeah,
and it just shows you how many times that they actually went between the 20s, right? They were never really stopped until they got down. So Rutgers' game plan was obviously keep everything in front of you and just let the field get smaller and smaller, just like Iowa. That's what we struggle with Phil Parker. Sometimes we're like, man, why does he play so far off, right? But then once they get inside the 30-yard line against Iowa, it is so hard to do anything. So maybe that's what Rutgers is. Maybe that's what Rutgers' future is going to be. Same type of deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So why don't you continue with what's going on? We'll come back to some of these guys' questions and comments in a bit.
Okay. Well, I left off at Rutgers at 5. I do have them ahead of Michigan, who I have at 6. And then I have Illinois at 7. Iowa at 8. But all these teams 5 through 10, they're just. I have USC at 9 and Nebraska at 10.
Okay. And,
I believe USC is just going to start. Like once they start playing, I really wish Iowa played USC this year. Their lines, just like Wisconsin, their lines are just terrible. Their interior alignment on both sides of the ball at USC, they got 5-star skills doing everything, but they have nothing in the middle, and that's going to hurt them when they play against teams like Michigan, right? That ran the ball for almost 300 yards against them. When they play against teams who aren't afraid to run the football, like even I don't know if they play Illinois, but I think Illinois will beat USC. I don't know who was all on their schedule, but I have USC at 9 and Nebraska at 10. And then this is just 11 through 15. It's just a crapshoot, really. I have Minnesota at 11 because of how well they played against Michigan. Washington at 12. And Maryland at 13. Michigan State at 14. And Wisconsin at 15. And to be honest, 15 through 18, Wisconsin, Northwestern, UCLA, and Purdue, you can throw them up in the air. I mean, they're all.
So from what you've seen already at Purdue, you're not real high on them then yet, that they're not quite there yet.
Purdue?
Yeah, I meant Wisconsin. Sorry.
Oh, Wisconsin, no. No, I'm not. Not at all.
Okay.
I'm shocked with how bad Graham Harrell is as an OC at Purdue. He's nothing like Mike Leach. I was rooting for him, but Graham Harrell is he doesn't. His air raid is different than I've seen. So,
guys, I got to grab a drink. I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good.
I got 3 of them, so I understand.
All right. I just want to
I think Minnesota's going to pound USC because they will run the ball on every down if they have to.
Yeah. Okay, so that.
But it's probably going to be a good game. But
what's that?
It'll probably be a good game.
We always want a good game. Except unless you're Iowa, then I want them to blow every team out. Blow them out. blow off the Buckeyes and bankrupt Vegas. Oh. Wonder how much money that cost Vegas when we beat them in 17.
I don't know.
Yeah. But I will be watching that game at the start because I will be at a volleyball game. But anyhow. So I want to shoot. You already kind of gave me a rundown where you feel some of these teams are at already. Let's just talk about Nebraska right now. Kind of like you got them kind of down on the list, and I think you got them behind Iowa.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Nebraska's not that good.
So you're thinking that I know you said on your live broadcast last week that they're going to go on a losing streak, and of course they didn't go on a losing streak so far yet because they just got a wallop Purdue.
I don't think they walloped them. They walloped them in the fourth quarter. I think it was 0-0 at the half. Third quarter, I don't even remember. I think
wasn't it like 7-3 or something in the third quarter?
It was 7-3 going into the fourth quarter. I wouldn't say as a wallop. What I saw was Purdue just kind of their offense wasn't doing anything, and their defense isn't Iowa's defense. They were just finally said, you know what, screw it. They didn't play defense in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, it was 7-3 going into the fourth quarter. I would not say that was a wallop. But Nebraska did beat them.
Yeah. For you guys that are watching on Facebook Live, if you want to go to YouTube and search Talking Iowa Hawkeye Sports, if you want to see the other comments up here and see Jason and Paul, feel free to do so.
We are
just using this as a platform to get the podcast out to a little broader audience to see what we're doing.
We are some handsome devils if you want to see us.
The ladies do love us.
We are ladies, man. But to answer your question about Howard, he's not hurt. He got hurt in the game, but he came back.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I believe Kelvin is the one that corrected me on that when I asked him, and said that he got hurt like before halftime, but came back in the third. But
yeah, he came back.
Did they play all three quarterbacks then, or just two? Or
they just played Brown in the fourth quarter when the game got out of hand.
Okay, what do you think of Brown? Brown was the one that was rumored to be coming to Iowa last summer, but never did.
I don't know that rumor. I hope not. I do not want Brown.
Kelvin
knows how to feel.
I'm quiet.
Go ahead.
I don't.
I was just going to say, Kelvin knows how I feel about Brown. We had that discussion.
What can Brown do for you?
I don't think I got a chance to say this. Guys, go check out Jerry Stafford's Hunting is Winning. They're going to do an Ohio State preview tomorrow. It'll be out noon tomorrow. Check it out. So I think it'll be on YouTube. If I remember right, Jerry puts it on YouTube. Okay. Jerry says that it's also a different guy. So it wasn't the same one that I was thinking of. So
okay. All right. But yeah, they did play three quarterbacks. This was a funny part. You remember the 4th and 1 situation where, oh God, I saw his last name on this. It's like Sayin, the third string quarterback. Well, he did something really stupid on 4th and 1, and he walked by the head coach, and Day looks at him and goes, "It was 4th and 1." Like, look at him going, "What are you?" He had the biggest disgusted look on his face. Like he didn't expect, even though the kid was probably a freshman, even a true freshman probably, but he looked at his quarterback going, "It was 4th and 1." It was just funny. Like he was mad. Saying, is that how it is? I saw the back of his jersey and I couldn't tell if it was saying or saving.
Saying, okay. All right. Howard Brown, I was kind of hoping that Howard was hurt, but apparently the other two quarterbacks played pretty well.
Well, I mean,
I'm looking for an edge, dude. Did Ohio State come out of the Michigan State game with any injured players that won't be available for Iowa? Because Michigan State looked like they were hitting pretty hard.
I mean, they're going to get hit by Iowa too.
Yeah.
So if we can't take,
maybe they'll be peeking ahead a little bit to Oregon. So that's
what I'm kind of hoping for. Like overlook Iowa because they've only beaten us like about 3 times in the last 100 years. I got to. This is kind of an Ohio State week. So even though we're not officially doing the preview yet, my dad, when he was a student and a radio announcer at KXIC in Iowa City, made a bet publicly, and I guess we had Ohio State for homecoming, that we would beat Ohio State, and if we didn't, he would push a peanut down the street with his nose. Well, I don't know where that picture is. I think it got lost in my flood, but there's a picture of my dad pushing a peanut down the street with his nose.
Yeah, that's definitely one I would never do. I would never make a bet when they play Ohio State. Like they just, no matter what, 1985, perfect example. Chuck on those 5 interceptions. They just do not play well against Ohio State. I could think of 2009. That was a great game. And then obviously 2017. And 2004 was a great game. But that was for the Big Ten championship. Like they won the Big Ten championship that year, and they destroyed, although Ohio State wasn't very good, but still.
Which was the year we played them for the Big Ten title in Rose Bowl, and when our quarterback got hurt, and we were winning to that game with the backup quarterback.
2009.
2009.
James Vandenberg. That was James Vandenberg's year. Yeah. And they lost Northwestern.
He played a hell of a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish he would play that well.
Yeah. They're saying Kirk made a bad decision not to go for the win and was going to play for the tie in overtime and try to beat him in overtime. But to be totally honest. Sometimes with those type of teams, you just got to go for the win and just live with the results if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
OSU Colt quarterback almost 70% completion percentage, almost 7 yards per rush attempt, good old line, 6 talented wide receivers, 4 that play a lot, 1 tight end averaging 30 yards a catch. Just don't use tight end much. Okay. Here we go. Jerry's got the guy who was rumored to be coming to Iowa. All right, my bad. I probably just thinking Brown because we actually got a Brown from Ohio State earlier.
Oh yeah, the South Dakota kid. I remember him now. I just didn't know his name. I do remember a South Dakota kid being rumored.
Okay.
But Minnesota really wants him too.
Right.
I don't know if he ever left. I just looked him up. I'm not gonna read about him, but I do remember the South Dakota kid they're wanting him to come to Iowa, or he was wanting to be recruited. I don't know.
All right. Yep. Yeah, Jerry says you're right. You're correct. Ohio State defense stacked front to back with NFL type guys. I'm not even going to try to say that name. Linebackers blitz and sack too. Yeah, well, let them blitz, come up, and then let's do some kind of a delayed run with the quarterback, or let's let the running back delay for just a half a second and let him spin through that blitz. Because but Iowa does a hard time, I think, picking up the blitz because in the couple games we've seen, they decided to run right into the blitz with the run, and I'll never figure out why.
Remember what we talked about. Why do they do that? This is one of those games I don't think Lester can wait till the second half. That was my whole halftime rant last week.
Okay.
It was all about what we did in the first half because we ran plays that made 0 sense. And then we come out in the second half and ran plays that did make sense. Right? Yeah. So what you're saying, Dean, it's true, but we now know what Lester does. He'll legit run dumb plays to set up other plays. But I'm not too. After watching Ohio State against Michigan State, their defense is not. I'm not worried at all about that. I think Iowa's going to be able to control the ball, control the clock. I think Iowa's defense, as long as we don't see Hall anymore, right? Unless he comes in special packages, X won't be on the field a whole lot, except for in the 4-2-5 type stuff. Yeah, those are the 2 players that has really hurt the defense, and I don't expect to see Hall hardly at all. We didn't see Hall at all on defense against Minnesota. I don't expect to see a lot unless it's in man coverage. They might put him in for man coverage type stuff. But yeah, I'm not too worried about all that stuff Kelvin's talking about.
Yeah. So Iowa is a 21-point dog. I thought they were 23.5 to 4. Does that mean the money's coming in on Iowa on this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least at 24 it was. Maybe now it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that William Hill, Jerry? Where are you getting that?
Okay, so Cody says, what gives me hope is how physical Iowa's offensive line is when they run the ball. Punish them boys on the defensive line. Push them all the way down the field. And put them in the end zone with KJ2. All righty. So I hope we can go 3 deep safety some. Wait a minute. I hope we go 3 deep safety some. Okay.
Yeah, right. The money is pouring in on Iowa. OSU did open at 23.5, Dean. Okay. And now it's actually down per William Hill, which is who I use, is down to 20.5.
Okay.
So
now the money might go back the other way now.
We'll
Is that what Vegas does? Let me guess. That's what Vegas does, right? Okay. Well, now it goes up and down on Iowa. And then now they got to go back the other way and get their money back for Ohio State.
Well, no, it's about it goes up and down, depends on where the money's going, right? If everybody keeps loading money on, which I would take Iowa at 20.5. I mean, that's a great spread for Iowa. So the money, if they're going to keep pouring money in Iowa, it's just going to keep getting shorter because what everybody, the world believes is Ohio State's going to beat them by a lot, right? So they're not going to raise the spread unless money comes in on Ohio State. So Vegas isn't doing it. Like I follow William Hill. It's how the process has always worked with every single team. It starts at an opening spread, and then depending on which way the money goes, that's which way the spread goes.
All right. Okay. Another thing I wanted to talk about while we were talking about Big Ten teams, because, this affects Iowa. Also, what affects Iowa the rest of the season, as long as we keep winning, is how Iowa State does. And it wasn't until the fourth quarter that they started to put Houston away. Should we be concerned that it took Iowa State to the fourth quarter to figure out Houston? Because Houston's supposed to be a bad team.
No, it's a four.
First of all, I don't care what Iowa State does.
Okay.
I don't think whether they win, they could go undefeated, and nobody is going to look at our loss to them in week 3 and go, well, it was a good loss. It's Iowa State. I mean, it's not going to matter to Iowa. The only thing that's going to matter to Iowa is what they do, in my opinion. I really don't think.
Right. I disagree with Paul. I'm with you on this, Dean. It does matter. What I don't agree with you on is what people have to learn, I don't understand this, is that a football game is 4 quarters long. Mm-hmm. There's 15 minutes in a quarter. That's how a game is played. So whatever happens in the first half, it doesn't matter how long it took them to figure out they won 20-0. They were just literally slowly. When did Houston score?
I thought they scored 3.
No, that was 0. That was the first time.
Okay, you're right. It's 0.
But no, this whole what Iowa fans, when they get so up in arms in the first quarter of games, it just drives me insane. It's because there's 4 quarters in a game, so you have to learn how the game is going.
Yeah,
coaches call plays throughout the game.
Yeah. And anybody who's followed Iowa games this year, go ahead, Paul. I don't want to interrupt you.
Big picture, I don't think it's good for Iowa State to, build momentum and have a great year. And then, now, I mean, there's just only so many recruits in the state, and if you're Iowa, you don't want to be in state recruiting battles with a high with a good Iowa State program. I mean, Minnesota doesn't have to do what we do. Wisconsin doesn't have to do what we do. Nebraska doesn't have to do what we do as far as sharing in-state recruits with another, Division I BCS program, whatever.
Right, but most players that come from the state of Iowa were either Iowa fans or state fans.
Right.
That's how I look at it. If they're in Iowa State, like this running back for Iowa State from Des Moines, he was always, it didn't matter how good Iowa was, he was always going to go to Iowa State. Mm-hmm. He loved Iowa State. Yeah. So I disagree with Paul on that as well, as far as I think it does wonders for both teams to go as far as high as they can both go, because I don't think in-state recruiting matters as much as I think it'd be great for the state to bring in recruits from outside of Iowa. Because I mean, most recruits that I've seen, that I've witnessed, that I've talked to or whatever, they've always known, well, if Iowa recruits me, I'm going to Iowa. If Iowa State recruits me, I'm going to Iowa State. And then there's this kid on players in Western Iowa, a lot of them are Nebraska fans. So it doesn't even matter, Nebraska's tight end. He was always going to go to Nebraska, and he's from Council Bluffs, right? The kid from Fedoni. I love Fedoni's cousin. Fedoni's cousin's at Iowa Western. He should be our kick returner with Wetjen. But anyway, Um,
Well, let's get him from Iowa Western and bring him to Iowa next year.
he, he's only he's like 5'7", 160 pounds. Like he's such a little guy, but he is so fast, right? But anyway, and the kid from Logan, Iowa, who I think he committed to Nebraska now. He's a huge lineman. But he was never going to Iowa or Iowa State regardless anyway. He's like a 4-star lineman. So I think most of Iowa, their recruits that they want to get, I mean, you might be right on some like walk-ons and stuff like that, but most players I think coming out of Iowa either know they're not going to an Iowa school, they want to get out of Dodge, right? Or they grew up as, oh, I'm a huge Iowa fan, or I'm a huge Iowa State fan,
right?
And maybe one way to pursue them would be, if to pursue an Iowa State fan for Iowa would be to give them a bag of money, right? That type of deal. So
yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. I've noticed that's the way it's fallen, over the years on those recruits. I want you to verify something for me though. I used to go to Omaha for food shows every year, and
for who?
For food shows.
For
food shows, yeah. Well, what we did is the grocery buying. I was a grocery store manager. We'd go on grocery buying missions. We'd meet at your arena there, over there. By the Railroad Museum and everything. We'd meet there and order things, but we'd always have some downtime. And one of the things we'd do is we'd head over to Council Bluffs. And on a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, everybody in Council Bluffs had the Nebraska football game playing, not Iowa or Iowa State. Can you verify that happens at Council Bluffs?
I mean, yeah, Council Bluffs is either Iowa, Iowa State, or Nebraska. I mean, it's not like more one side.
Okay.
There's so many Iowa fans. Matter of fact, I think it's kind of rare in Council Bluffs to find an Iowa State fan.
Okay.
Most Iowa State fans are like farmers and stuff, but they're either Nebraska or Iowa for the most part in Council Bluffs.
Where I lived in Hubbard, I was only 25 miles from Ames, Iowa. And so, we do a lot of our major shopping in Ames. But in Hubbard, I was almost the lone Hawkeye fan in that town. I'd take some abuse, especially when we'd ever lose to Iowa State in anything. I took abuse from all the Iowa State people in that town.
I mean, well, the huge reason...
Even my own employees went to Ames for college.
What I've learned, though, is a huge reason there's so many Husker fans on the western side is because of their success in the 90s and the 70s, like all their football success. So they were following the winning team and just became Nebraska fans when Iowa was just, even under Hayden Fry, it was always the same. They'd go up, but then they'd go down, then they'd go up. They never had like national championship success because that's all you would hear about when you would, argue football with them is how many rings, baby? How many rings? So that's kind of why Western Iowa is a lot of Nebraska fans.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I just remember that some of that when we were going on a regular basis, and even getting in the all the Nebraska fans flooding Omaha and the hotels, that same hotel rooms that we were staying, not rooms, but same hotels we were staying. All those Nebraska fans giving them crap. Anyway,
the money line is 1,300.
Meaning what? Explain that to us that don't know about money lines.
Meaning, I picked, for the Iowa Hawkeyes to win the Big Ten, their money line was like 30-some hundred, I think. So if Iowa does win the Big Ten, I only spent 20, but I'm going to make $2,000, right? Because of the money line. You never want to bet at minus money line. It doesn't make sense to do that. But you bet a positive money line. Like if you think there's an upset, I'm thinking there's an upset brewing for Iowa this weekend. And at 1,300, I could bet $20 and probably win 1,500.
So I got a question. You said upset brewing this weekend for Iowa. Does that mean when we do our picks this week, you're going to safely pick Iowa over Ohio State?
Yeah, I got a score and everything.
All right, why don't you give it to us now? Just got our minds peaked.
Wow.
Or you want to save it and shock the world?
Well, no, I just think Iowa wins 27-21.
There you go.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, speaking of picks, you want to know how poorly you did this week?
Well, I already know. I went out on a limb with Paul, right? I picked Illinois over Penn State. I already knew it was going to. I picked Purdue over Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
I did my going out on a limb.
Okay.
Did I even break 500?
Yes, you did. You went 6-4.
Well, there you go. I
Yeah.
lost every one that I went out on a limb on.
Yeah. And Paul only lost 2.
I was out there with Paul on that damn limb. I tried it for a week.
Yeah. Well,
Our big lumps.
This has never happened before. But I went perfect this week. This has never happened to me before. Remember one that was won last year I picked against Iowa. I would have been perfect if I'd have just used common sense and picked Iowa. I don't remember what game that was.
Dean, I think you had some insider trading info.
Yeah.
What's that, Paul? Paul?
He's got some insider trading going on.
I didn't even hear, I guess. I'm too busy talking and rattling, and then he talks and I don't hear it. I took my hearing aids out today so that the people on Facebook watching us can hear you guys.
Yeah.
Because when I put my hearing aids in, it shuts all the sound off around on everything, on every device I have. Okay. Well, all right. So I went 10-0 on the picks this week. I just think UCLA kind of hung with Oregon early on, but then Oregon just kind of slowly put it away methodically. Paul went 8-2. I don't know why he picked Houston, but he wanted to go out on a limb and try to gain some ground back. He gained ground on you, but not on me. Okay. Okie State over Kansas State. Hey, did this one surprise you guys that it was a blowout the way it was?
It did me. That's one of them I didn't think I was going on a limb because I really thought Okie State could run the ball. They couldn't do anything. Yeah. I knew Bowman, their quarterback, Bowman, I mean, he's just one of those players that was so highly recruited. So, like, everybody just keeps giving him a shot. Like, he was at Texas Tech. Like, he's just been around the block because of his high school days. He's the equivalent of a first-round draft pick in the NFL who just goes from team to team because he's not very good. That's Alex Bowman at Oklahoma State. He's
DJ Ulagunlie or whatever at FSU.
That's the same thing, yeah. Yes. It's exactly the same thing where he was a 5-star recruit, went to Clemson, had everything going. He crapped out there, so he goes to Oregon State. And well, he did all right there, but then John Smith left. So then he goes to Florida State based on his high school days. He's back to where he was at Clemson.
Okay, hey, let's back up to real quick to Oregon. We had a former player up there. I don't know how he did this week. Did anybody catch how? Was it Jacob Justin or Justin Jacobs? I think
Justin Jacobs. And
I think he was a DB.
I think he has like 1 tackle on the season. He's a defensive end.
Yeah. While I was watching the game, I don't recall seeing him, and I was looking for him. I did see Casper though. I saw him several times.
He got a pass interference called on him, or not on him, but the defender got it
against him. It was against him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just kind of moving on real quick. I just want to hit these games real quick and just kind of talk about them a little bit. Wisconsin at USC. Wisconsin hung in for about a half, and then just
actually they hung in for quite a bit longer than a half. I want to say the game was close about entering the fourth quarter, midway through the fourth quarter. And I want to say USC pulled away late with a late score, but it was a competitive game.
Okay.
Wisconsin hit some big plays. I know at one point, I think they had like a 1-play 80-yard touchdown pass, and it was good and bad for them. Obviously, the quick score was good, but then they put their defense right back out on the field. So,
yeah. Well, I think I've got Wisconsin like around 6-6 for the year. I have to go back and look, but I pretty much put them right in the middle, around 6-6.
Oh yeah,
Minnesota
Wisconsin
and
was up.
Michigan. Yeah, go ahead.
Wisconsin was up by 11 at the half.
Yeah.
It was 21-10 at the half. Wisconsin.
Oh, that's
was winning.
correct. That is correct. USC made a comeback. That's right.
And
I
then,
forgot about that.
And then USC outscored them 28-0 in the second half.
Yeah.
I do got to tell you guys, I have been to USC games live in that Coliseum before, and I will tell you what. Every time I went to a game, I heard that stupid fight song, in my head for a week, and still playing in my head because, unfortunately, it came over TV quite a bit yesterday. All right. Minnesota at Michigan. Minnesota kind of got jobbed on this one.
I agree.
I don't know. If
the
they
Chad Greenway effect.
Yeah. If they don't get called for the offsides, Minnesota is probably about 10, 15 yards away from getting in field goal position to win that game. So
they had all the momentum too.
That's what I was going to say, Paul. You read my mind.
They
had all the momentum too.
Yeah.
Like legit, they could have went and scored a touchdown with all the momentum that they had at that moment.
Yeah. They had Michigan puckering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was at a volleyball game when they were making their little sweet comeback, and Nicholas called me and said, "Do you see what's going on? Do you see what's going on? Minnesota's coming back, got all the momentum." And I go, "I'm at a volleyball game. I don't know what's going on, but I will look at it when I get home."
I was watching Indiana, Maryland, because that was about as interesting a football as I think I saw all weekend.
Okay. We didn't have that one on our picks, and I know that Indiana won it. What was the final score on that one?
Something like 38-31 maybe, or 38-35. It was close.
Okay.
It was 42-28.
Oh,
42-28. Okay.
It was 35-28, but then Indiana scored late in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
So I mean, it was close.
So do we blame Brian for not scoring more than 28 points? The Brian effect?
Or do we credit Brian because Maryland scored 28, which is more than the 25.
Yeah. I still don't know. I still believe that Brian was in over his head, and it was Kirk's fault that he was when he was here at Iowa. But the guy's a smart man, and I'll never put him down because he may be a head coach somewhere someday and come back and play against Iowa and just rip our butts. Okay.
Or be an OC and do that.
Yeah, that too. Illinois at Penn State. That was quite a game for a long time. It was 7-7, and I only followed this one on Google. I did not follow it. I mean, on ESPN. I did not follow it on TV. And did any one of you guys kind of catch any part of that game?
Oh, yeah, I watched it.
Illinois, Penn State?
Yeah. I was pulling for Illinois. I was watching it.
I wanted Illinois to win, too. Everybody hates Penn State.
Kelvin's right, though, about Indiana. They did turn it over, right? I mean, they do have a great quarterback. I loved watching Rourke at Indiana when he played for Ohio. Like, he was playing as a man among boys, so he deserved to be in the Power Four at Indiana like he is. But he started the game off rough. Kelvin's right. He threw, I think, 2 interceptions in the first 2 drives or something. But Maryland didn't score on him, I don't believe. If I remember, I don't think Maryland scored on those turnovers in the beginning.
I'm not sure they did.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But, yeah, the Illinois game, getting back, I know I have ADHD, so I see a comment, my brain's like,
how many yards did Raiola get for Nebraska against Purdue?
I thought we were talking about Illinois, Penn State. What are we doing?
Oh, we're moving on. I'm moving on to the next game. The next game. I just wanted to talk about these games that we picked, and I just wanted to see what you guys thought.
He passed for 2. Oh, yeah, he won me money. His goal was 230, and he passed for 244.
Okay. Well, I got a question for you. You accidentally picked Card from Purdue. You told me that did he lose you money?
Yes, $100. Oh, I didn't lose the money. I would have made 100.
Okay.
I lost $5. It was part of my 6 player thing I had going. It was I bet $5 to win 100. I needed 6
And
people.
you wanted Shador.
He passed for 174 yards. You know what his goal was? 175.
Ah,
The goal was 174.5. So he needed to hit 175. He freaking was so that last touchdown they scored, Purdue, if they don't run the ball for like 2 or 3 yards before he throws the touchdown pass,
you would have got it.
I got it. But instead, they run the ball, which takes 2 yards away, and he throws the fade route for a touchdown, and ends up with exactly 174.
Yeah,
man, Vegas is good.
Yeah, and then you really wanted Shador. How did he do? I mean, not that you put money on him, but Shador, how did he end up doing?
Oh, I don't think he hit either. Actually, he needed 306, and he passed for 290. So either way,
it was still a good day though.
I was going to lose that $5 either way, but just how close Card got just made it like, oh my! I've never seen anything like it.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the Louisville Notre Dame game. You did pick Louisville in this game. You saw something in Louisville that you thought they had a chance against Notre Dame. I don't even know what the score of this game was. I totally didn't pay attention to it.
I want to say it was 28-24, but Jerry probably knows, or Kelvin, or Cody even. But yeah, Altmaier's a surprise for me too, Kelvin. But I think the final was like 28-24. But Notre Dame physically dominated the game. So it was more in the trenches and stuff. Notre Dame was able to run the ball better.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to skip over the Ohio State-Michigan State game because we kind of talked about that earlier. Did either one of you stay up late and watch the Georgia-Bama game last night?
Oh, yeah. That was my lock of the week. I made money on Bama. Actually, a lot of people made money on Bama in my text thread.
Yeah.
That was my lock of the week. I almost crapped myself, though, with the comeback. I couldn't believe it because that was my lock. I'm like, oh, no, because, we put money straight up on that game. And Bama was actually the underdog when we got in at the underdog. It was Georgia was favored by 1.5. And so I was like, Bama's going to just I don't believe in Georgia's quarterback. I don't think he's very good. Carson Beck. And for whatever reason, when Alabama got up 30-3, I think it was, or 30 to
it was a lot to a little.
And
that's about where I turned the game off, thinking it was done.
And then all of a sudden, Carson Beck turned into Peyton Manning. I'm like, what the hell? Is this going to be my half a yard situation with Card? But it came through for us. I mean, it was a good day. Friday and Saturday were good days for me because Washington made me a lot of money the night before on the player props.
Yeah. Well, on our picks, I'd already named Alabama the winner, thinking the game was over, and then Brian sends that text about how fire that game was. I go, wait, it's still going on? It's not over? So I turned it on just in time to watch the Alabama guy run that 75-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, no, it was on that deep ball where no one covered. I don't know if you saw it, Paul. The touchdown that Georgia took the lead on, where nobody covered.
Yeah,
you saw the highlight of it. Yeah, no one covered him. I look up at the Lord. What the hell? I mean, like, seriously, what is going on? Are you trying to tell me something? Stop gambling? What are you doing? But then the very next play, first play for Alabama, they do the same. You know that kid is 17?
Yes.
Yeah, they mentioned that. They mentioned that.
He has the best wide receiver instincts. He's got speed. He's got hands. I've never seen a receiver like him ever without the size, right?
Like, that must be a kid that their parents started him a year earlier in school than So
what were you saying?
I have a grandson who will be 17 in college because he started a year early.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying with how talented this kid is.
Yeah,
at 17, it's almost amazing.
Yeah,
the dude's just amazing.
Just
But yeah, I
amazing.
saw Boise State's running back. He's a beast.
Yeah,
The
he got.
dude's
I
a
don't know how
beast.
many yards he got, but he's now about 160 yards ahead of KJ.
245 on 22 carries.
Wow. Okay.
They have a
And
green field now.
KJ might lose some ground too, because I can't see him running that many yards against Ohio State.
Why?
Hopefully, he gets at least 100. But
He will.
okay. I would like to get him 200 or 300. Well, 300. That means all we did was run the ball, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to see the 2 bill, I don't believe. That would be amazing if he did, but he's going to see the 100 yards.
Okay. All right.
What we're not understanding is it's the blocking schemes of that Lester brought in that fits KJ so well. That's what we're not seeing is it's how because he can read blocking so well. And I think the biggest thing is I think the biggest thing early in that game though is going to be play action passes. What we can't do is when they sent 7, Alabama sent 7. I don't know if you guys saw that. And if they got interception, they sent 7 and got an interception on that play. But anyway, if they start sending 6 or 7, I mean they have so much talent, right? It's going to be a whole different world of 6 and 7. Mm-hmm. So we can't wait. I think we got to start early with the play action passes. And I think what we saw in the second half a week ago, remember, Paul, the quickness of Cade getting the ball out? I think that's what we're going to have to do, right? Just turn around and hit the open guy. Don't wait for the deep ball right away. Just turn around and hit the open guy, get some play action passes under our belt, and loosen them up a little bit for KJ. Because if they send 6 or 7, we have no shot with the skill that they have at Ohio State.
Okay. Kelvin's out there going out on a limb, KJ 2 for 278 yards against Ohio State. So
isn't that Walter Payton's number? Isn't that what Walter Payton got in the NFL 278 when he broke the record?
All right.
Kid lead blocker, that was great. But you guys hear that's why Howard is playing wide receivers because of his blocking ability. On that play that he's talking about with Cade lead blocker, that was Howard made a huge block on that play that sent KJ to the end zone. Yes. I mean, Cade hit somebody in the end zone. Do you see that? He wanted to hit somebody so bad it was in the end zone. He tapped somebody on the shoulder.
Guys, I'm going to go off of Facebook right now. Sorry, guys. I'm done. Okay. There's only 4 people watching on there, and they weren't commenting.
Well, I mean, you got to build your audience. You got to just leave it going.
Yeah. No, I do, but I wanted to show you guys something, and I needed to get to the phone to do it. Okay. So, okay, it's right here. Maybe, wait a minute, hang on.
Right. Paul's going to fall asleep while you do this.
I know Paul's going to fall asleep. Okay. We're late. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. I'm going to try to.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to show the audience. This will be my official new logo. We're going to have T-shirts made out of this. And I'm buying the T-shirts for my crew here so that they can wear them on air. And they'll be yellow T-shirts. And so I don't know how soon I can get those for you guys. My niece is the one doing it, and I'm hoping she can get them done while I'm in Iowa, so I don't have to pay the shipping to have those shipped to me, and I can just pick them up and bring them home, stick them in a suitcase. But yeah, I mean, and if anybody out there, really wants to buy one, they can. They're actually pretty reasonable price right now, $20, and so that's not too bad of a price.
That's not a very good sales pitch, Dean.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, that's not very good. You're the opposite of a salesman. You're supposed to be a car salesman right now. These are the best shirts. They fit. They're for heavy people because most of us are probably heavy.
Yeah.
They make you look skinny. I mean, throw some stuff in there.
Yeah. She uses
Don't take 30 pounds off of your belly fat.
She does. She uses a high quality t-shirt. I've gotten t-shirts from her in the past, and they're very high quality. You'll like them. All right. So Cade lead blocker. Oh, when Cade was blocking for KJ on that touchdown run,
which he didn't hit anybody until it was in the end zone.
I know it. Here's the crazy thing about it. I thought Cade had the ball and KJ was the decoy. I didn't realize that KJ had the ball until he was in the end zone.
Yeah.
I go, Cade, go. Get yourself a running touchdown. Oh, no, Johnson does.
They're not going to let Cade run with the football like that.
I mean, that would not be a total defense wouldn't even know what the hell happened if Cade kept the ball like that.
But you know what's something unusual about that is since Iowa State, Cade had not been in a goal to go situation like that, and usually they've been giving that to Sully.
Well, that's only inside. They weren't inside the 10-yard line yet.
They weren't.
They only bring in Sully when it's really close to the end zone.
Okay, I was thinking that they were about the 10-yard line. Okay.
No, they weren't.
He says Gill blocked 2 guys.
Yeah, he did.
They're laced with. I have no idea what that is that he said.
Cialis.
Yeah. But it's good to see Kelvin here. I appreciate him watching. He wanted to watch 60 Minutes live tonight with Caitlin Clark.
What is Cialis? I don't.
Maybe he'll tell us. We're waiting, Kelvin.
Well, you know what it is?
What?
You knew how to pronounce it.
Cialis is like
Cialis.
That's a male enhancement pill.
Oh.
Viagra is the one that I know.
Okay. All right.
Viagra, Cialis, same thing, basically.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like Viagra. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That's the only one I know.
All right.
I think Phil Mickelson was doing spokesperson for Cialis. And you can make all the jokes about his wood you want, so.
That's funny. I didn't even know there was commercial. I don't watch commercials. I guess that's probably your Yee shorts.
He meant T-shirts.
Oh,
he corrected himself. I hope they do.
If you're taking Cialis, you might have Yee shorts.
Yeah, guys, I don't know how soon we'll be wearing them on air, but we'll be wearing them soon.
Hopefully without the Viagra laced in.
Right.
Yeah.
What's next on the agenda?
Well, this is it. This is where I ended it, and this is and we got right up to an hour, a little over an hour. So, if you have something else you would like to discuss while we're still here, let's do it.
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. I think he's watched too many of Llama's stuff.
I think Paul is sending Kelvin some messages. Hey, say this.
Right.
He's doing the Paul thing right now.
Or wait a minute. Or maybe it's Llama under the Kelvin's name.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Bill is a master with his 5-wood, so
All right,
guys. Let's call it good here. Not sure if Tuesday or Wednesday is good for you guys or not, because I know Paul's got baseball to do, and
I can go either Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe.
All right. I prefer to do Tuesday and get that Ohio State preview out there.
We could do that. I think so.
All right. Let's do it.
Derrick Henry just went 87 yards for a touchdown. That had to be a good one.
All right. Yeah. I watched Green Bay almost come back and beat Minnesota after Minnesota got up 28-0. Where have you heard that before?
Yeah, right.
Don't get up 28-0 because you.
Then your players stop playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it truly is. That's on the coaches. The coaches have to find a way to keep the kids into the game.
Yeah.
When you get up 28-0, it's just a natural instinct to let up a little bit. And
yeah. Also, hey, Tuesday is news conference day, which is perfect because we can talk about some of the stuff said in the news conference.
Good.
But also sometime this week, I don't know when, is basketball media days. With both the women and the men. I don't know if that's Big Ten or just strictly Iowa. But I'm gonna probably have an extra podcast with some basketball stuff on there this week. And so we'll see how that goes. You know, how that all works out. Anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody watching. We're losing watchers as we go. They're just kind of clicking off, and so.
Well,
Again,
we're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Just staring at them.
Yeah. Hey, that's one more thing. If you watch it this far, thank you. Now go subscribe. Hit your like button while you're on right now. Hit that like button. And then share it and leave a comment. I'll come back later and answer your comments.
You might want to bring on some Playboy models and not me and Paul if you want us to just sit here.
Terry, where you at, Terry?
Oh, God. This will show whether or not Terry's going to watch this podcast if he had, because let's see if she makes a comment.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Oh.
All right, guys.
All right. Take care, guys. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Everybody.